Inflation is coming down. At least that is what the consensus are for the upcoming CPI data that we're getting in a few hours from now. As you can see here, the inflation in the United States is rising since September from 2.4 all the way to 3%. The reading of last month was a pretty negative surprise because the consensus was that it would stay the same, 2.9 month over month, but it came in slightly hotter, 3%, a rise of 0.1%. And that caused a sell-off in the markets. Now for this month's reading, the consensus is that we're going down 0.1%. But I can tell you that if the inflation stays the same, so 3%, or maybe even comes in slightly hotter, 3.1%, I think we again can expect a pretty big sell-off. So we really need to hit now that 2.9 or lower to see maybe a move to the upside. If we're looking at core inflation, that's actually exactly the same as for the regular inflation. Core inflation is the same, but then excluded from food and energy prices. And there you can see that last month the consensus was 0.3%, but it came in 0.4%. So also here 0.1% hotter than expected, and now again they're expecting 0.1% lower. So core inflation and regular inflation both is expected to be 0.1% lower month over month. But Ray, how about all the tariffs? Isn't that very bad for the inflation? Yes, it is. However, the reading that we're getting a couple hours from now is from the month of February, and most of the tariffs are coming into play this month and next month. And if you have been following the news, then you can see that the US is slapping certain tariffs on countries, and a couple days later or even a couple hours later he's taking them down again. So yeah, the whole war of tariffs is now finally wearing off a little bit on the market. Talking about the regular markets, we have seen something super interesting as of yesterday, and that is a 10% correction on the S&P 500 measured from the absolute top to the absolute bottom, minus 10.2%. Why is that interesting? Well, the statistics say that at least once a year the S&P 500 will have a retrace of 10%. That reminds me of a period that we have seen quite recently. In 2024, you can see here also a move down of minus 10.5%. This was when we had rollover contracts in Japan, and a lot of people said, oh, that's going to recall the financial system and everything will roll over and we go lower. We hit that minus 10%-ish, and then the markets went higher. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to V-shape back up to the upside for the standard markets. However, as you can see here in this whole move down, there was not once a structure of a lower high and a lower low. There was just one quick move down. So to have something of a relief rally, to see prices going higher again, at least to retest something, that would be very welcome. And of course, once we're back here around this area right here of 5,900 points, the big question is, are we getting a lower high and are we going to see lower prices again? Or is this just, in the bigger scheme of things, a higher low and then eventually we go higher? If I then quickly look at the Nasdaq, the NQ, there it was pretty much the same. As you can see that the move down from the top to the bottom was minus 14%. This has to do with most of the tech stocks that are in there, much more volatile. I mean, look at Tesla, minus 55% already from the top. So these are companies and stocks that just bring the average more down than the S&P 500 does. Back to BTC, because that's why you're here. Yesterday I was telling you that I'm looking actually to a move to the upside, and the reason is because a lot of stuff is pretty much oversold. We had a pretty big move to the downside, a nice grinding structure, more than 17%, but it's now maybe good to see some reversal to the upside. Yesterday was a little bit choppy market, but Mark 7B actually looks pretty good. Here on the hourly you can see that the money flow already went into the green. We have a nice, very tight trigger wave here on the 1 hour, momentum wave to the upside. The RSIs here are split. That is not so clean. You want to see that tight together, but here actually on the broader scheme of things, this just looks actually very nice for a continuous move to the upside. Of course, everything will stand or fall with the CPI. If that CPI comes in very bad, hotter than expected, then I think we can see a quick move to the downside. Therefore, I was in a long, but it is closed out. I updated everyone in the Discord. By the way, if you are interested in joining that, completely for free. Link is in the description, so feel free to check that out. I give their daily updates, again, completely for free, so check out the Discord. But overall, let's say the inflation comes in as expected. I do expect us eventually to go higher. The first big target that I'm looking at, still the same as yesterday, 86, 87. We have the S&P from these highs right here. We have a big point of control right here at 86, 300, and then we have a golden pocket. So it's a nice confluence of a lot of levels. Don't forget, on most of the bigger time frames, we are still very much in bearish market structure. The question is, of course, for how long? Because as you can see, this is the 4 hour, and we were creating here a lower high, lower low kind of idea. This high still did not take out this previous high, so you could say on the 4 hour still bearish, we're going lower. On all of the other time frames underneath 4 hour, we are creating already bullish market structure. Of course, if we get the news and we would get here to this golden pocket and that first big short trade that I'm looking at, it could be nothing more or less than just a scalp to the downside, because then you're breaking market structure, maybe some bounce, and then we go higher. That could still be a trade, of course, of 4.5%. That could be actually a very nice trade, but yeah, it depends on what kind of matter we're getting there. If we're very oversold, do we see already bearish bearish dips once we reach that level? So that's very important. Like I said, everything underneath the 4 hour is already bullish market structure, as you can see here. So that actually looks good then for further continuation. As you can see here, boom, now it is flipped into bullish, and now actually you're expecting or waiting for these highs to be taken out. I think if the news comes in as expected or better than expected, then eventually we could see a big move to the upside. So for BTC, not a lot has changed. The only reason why I would still take a long if we go down is if I see a wick to the downside on the news, and then we are, let's say, taking out a very local level, reclaiming it pretty fast, and then to go higher. This would be then an entry for me, and of course I am then aiming for that 86, 87. If I take the trade, again, I will only update this in my private Discord. It's completely for free. Feel free to check it out and to join it. And then I will also say if I take the trade, if I take any profit, if my stop loss got a hit, or what I'm expecting for the next couple hours. So very interesting. Again, feel free to join that. Other than that, I do not really have anything local. I'm really waiting for the news to hit. I am hoping and I'm expecting a little bit that we're finally getting some good news. Everything is extremely sold off. The markets had the standard correction. BTC has pretty much oversold. The 12 hour and the daily looks actually pretty good. You can see here green dot already on the 12 hour, and we have bullish divergence here. This looks absolutely beautiful. Also, we'll zoom into the daily. You can see that the bullish divergence will be confirmed very, very fast. If that happens, so that will be then today, you can see here green dot, it will take today to confirm that. If that happens, we can really expect some continuation to the upside for the next couple of days, because a bullish divergence on the daily usually gives a good continuation to the upside for, let's say, the next week or so, until that has played out. So then that scalp from 86, 87 will probably only be a scalp, and then we continue higher. So let's see how that goes. We'll of course trade it level by level, trade by trade, and we'll see how the price develops once we get there. For now, I'm staying somewhat cautious, but I'm expecting higher prices, and then maybe in a week or 2 weeks from now, I think we eventually can start shorting again to macro levels to the downside. Why I'm on the macro much more bearish, you can find it out in the video that I uploaded yesterday. Will not repeat it today. I will make sure that it pops up here at the end of this video. Just click on it, go to it, and I show you very much in detail why I'm expecting for the next couple of weeks and months that we are still seeing lower prices, and that this low that we created here is not the mother of all lows, and now we're going to all-time highs. I do not think that we're close to that kind of level, to that kind of price action. Thank you guys for sticking with me all the way to the end. If you like the content, please do me a favor by liking, subscribing, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Do me a favor, and also join the Discord, of course. Thank you guys so very much again. I'm stumbling over my own words. Thank you guys very much again. See you in the next one. Bye bye.